Hi everyone, my name is Tommy. Now you probably realize that ethics is very important in this field. You also learned some essential compliance code for you to follow to become an ethical RBT. Let's talk about how to find an ethical employer or company. As an ethical RBT, when you look for a job, you want to make sure that the company shares the same ethical value as you do. And why is it important for you to work for an ethical company? Let's assume that you're working for an unethical company. You may be requested to engage in actions that violate the compliance code, which may put you under the risk of losing your credential as an RBT. And sometimes you may not agree with the company's policy, which is not aligned with the compliance code. On the other hand, your ethical action may not be supported by your supervisor or your colleagues. Eventually, you'll feel like you're not working in a supportive and friendly working environment. Lastly, if you continue to engage in unethical actions as requested by your company, you may harm your reputation as an RBT. Even worse, in the long term, you may harm your career. If that's the case, then how do we determine if the company is ethical or not? Here are some questions you can consider asking during the interview. You can ask questions to evaluate whether the value of the agency comply with the ethical code. If the answers given by the interviewer is not supported by the compliance code, you may be more careful before making a decision to work for this company. Here are some examples of the questions you can ask. First of all, you can consider asking for information about training and supervision system. According to the code 5.03, it is very important for you as an RBT to receive sufficient supervision to help you learn and maintain the skills that you may need while working in this field. Here are some tips to help you evaluate a good training system. First, you can check if the agency has developed or adapted any training modules. Usually, well-developed systematic modules will always improve the outcome of trainings. And secondly, you have to make sure that consistency of the training is a very important component. Therefore, you need to make sure there are weekly or monthly trainings for RBTs. Next, you can also check if there are situations that require you to practice beyond your competence. If so, what will be the agency's action to assist you to maintain competency? You can consider asking the company that what kind of client you may be receiving once you start working for this company. Then you can decide if you have experience working with similar clients before. If you have no experience or no trainings working with this specific type of clients, you may not be competent. According to the code 1.02, it is very important for you as an RBT to work and practice within the boundaries of your competency level. And why is this very important? Let's think about a scenario. You get your RBT and you got hired, unfortunately, by an unethical company. You have no trainings or experience with aggressive clients. And the company assign you to a client with a very intense aggressive behaviors. And you would have no knowledge about that. You wouldn't care too much. You're just really excited to get into the action. Let's say the first 2 weeks, everything goes really well. And you're really happy about your job and everything. And suddenly, one day you go into the session, you see the parents got hit by the client. The behavior was very intense. With no trainings, you freak out and you freeze there. The client sees you, he charges towards you and punches you on the face. As a result, you got injured and have to be sent to the hospital. On the other hand, let's say if you work for an ethical company, this should be considered as a case beyond your competence level or boundaries. An ethical company will not place you on those kind of cases unless you're ready. They will give you trainings or supervisions to make sure you're well prepared to deal with those kind of behaviors before placing you for any of those cases. As a result, all the consequences I mentioned earlier can be avoided. Here are two examples. Of course, there are other questions you can consider asking as well. In the end of the video, I'll provide you on the reference page, you'll be able to find an article which will include a lot of interview skills as well as questions you can consider asking during the interview. But for now, let's watch a short video. In this video, we're going to show you how you can ask some of the questions during an interview. Enjoy.
So that concludes the questions that I have for you. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, I checked the website of the company. One of the mission you mentioned is to provide the best practice. So I'm wondering what would be the steps to take to maintain the best practice?
That's a really good question. So what we do is we follow the BACB guidelines, and we always keep in mind the ethical codes. And other than that, we make sure that all the programs we implement are empirically validated.
Thank you very much for your answer. And also, I'm wondering if you guys have a training system for the supervisors and RBTs to maintain their skills.
Great question again. We have monthly training for both supervisors and staff. And within these trainings, we utilize the BST model, and we go over specific topics. And they could be topics that either supervisors request that they're seeing staff have some issues with, or it could just be things that we haven't reviewed in a while.
That's really good to know. And lastly, I was wondering if there will be situations, assuming I'm going to start working as RBT here, will there be situations that I have to work beyond my competency level? If that's the case, what will be the action to take to maintain my competency?
Well, that's a great question. And like I mentioned earlier, we do adhere to the ethical guidelines in the code. So we wouldn't put you out to do something you haven't been trained in or you don't feel comfortable in. So what we would do is make sure you're being trained and then supervised while you're doing it, and we wouldn't leave you alone to it until after you've had that training, that supervision, and everything.
Thank you very much. Okay, are there anything else you need for the interview, or?
I have your resume right here, and we'll get back to you.
Thank you.
It was really nice meeting you.
Looking forward to hear from you.
I hope we make you a member of Stacy's ABA Shack.
Thank you very much.
Here's the reference page I mentioned earlier. So if you're interested, please take some time and check it out. And good luck to everyone. I will see you as an RBT. Thank you.